Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we are going to take a look at beating the extreme tech stage of SBR, or well, the versus super AGL stage of SBR, completely free to play. So in terms of your team and how you're going to want to build it, how I went about it was I took the Tech Android 13 unit, the Tech Fused Android 13 unit, and I used him as lead. He is a 60% Tech type lead, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but you need to remember that some of these stages are old. And so yeah, he was definitely the most decent lead, or at least the one that I felt could make the most cohesive team overall. You can run an Artificial Life Forms or maybe an Androids team. You are missing one or two pieces, but it is definitely possible. As a friend, we are going to take the Easy Aid Tech Freezer. So this is the Easy Aid Tech Transforming Freezer. Provides healing every single turn and provides a really good amount of damage. Gains key against super class enemies, and just basically overall is an incredibly solid unit. We're going to be pairing him up with the Dodoria and Zarbon unit. A unit that got a lot of flack from the community, but I think are a perfectly fine unit. They are going to lower the attack and defense of the opposition. They're also going to have the ability to seal as well. And they raise their attack and defense with every single attack that they do. While also we are going to be able to see of course their support come into play, Space Traveling Warriors, and they're going to help out quite a large component of our team, but especially the Freezer unit that's going to be paired up alongside them. Then in the other rotation, eventually what we will have is we will have Lord Slug, and we will have First Form Freezer as a rotation. Sorry, not Freezer, First Form Cell as a rotation. That's Imperfect Cell, just because they're a pretty solid rotation. The Lord Slug and his ability to stun is very, very good. He can provide a lot of control and utility for us. And then the First Form Cell, he provides healing, which is very, very good. So we have two forms of healing on either rotation, while also debuffing the opposition with his 18 key. It's very, very important that you focus on getting that 18 key when you can, because it's a very, very solid attack that is going to allow him to really debuff the opposition and give you a lot of control over the battle. We have quite a few debuffing units. We have Dodoria and Zarbon, we have Cell, we have the Gildo unit as well. So we do have quite a few ways to really control the attack stats of our opposition. We have floating the Android 17. Now ideally I'd like to use Android 17, but there's just not really a situation that makes him super duper good. He's solid, don't get me wrong, he's incredibly solid, does a lot of good work, but he does need an Android 18 future to run at his full strength, and there's just not really one on the tech side. There is an Extreme Tech Android 18. She's not a free-to-play unit, but she won't trigger his passive because she's not a Android 18 future. So yeah, for the most part, we're just going to leave him floating. He should still do some decent damage because we will be facing Hybrid Saiyans units, and that will trigger his passive, allowing him to kind of fire off multiple super attacks. Then, like I said, we're going to have Gildo. So Gildo is a great unit, comes with a stun, comes with big time debuffs on the opposition, and he also has the ability to seal as well. So he's bringing a lot of our floating utility to the team. So not only do we have a stun on the rotation with Lord Slug, we have a floating stun and seal, and we have a seal on the rotation with Dodoria and Zarbon. So for the most part, we have a lot of utility, we have a lot of controlling mechanisms, we have multiple attack lowering, and that's realistically how we're going to focus in on this stage. In these fights against one or two units, generally what I do is obviously you want to try and focus on the one unit, really try and take them out, and then you want to obviously see what you can do against the other unit. Realistically speaking, we do want to split our sealing. So we want to seal with the Dodoria and Zarbon, and we want to seal with Gildo, the other unit, whenever he's on rotation. That's just going to enable us to really kind of control what's going on and stop ourselves taking too much damage. You can see that, literally right now, as we're sealing both units, we're preventing their ability to fire super attacks, and we're really just controlling the fight quite well. The free-to-play Extreme Tech team could do with some more units for sure. Any team really could. But the team looks alright. It doesn't look too bad. Needs a good lead. We need some kind of free-to-play tech lead. What I'd like is some kind of tech movie bosses lead or terrifying conquerors lead. The tech cooler will awaken eventually and Easy A, I assume, so he could be a really good option. But we also just need some really good free-to-play tech options. We need maybe an Easy A for the Cell. He's an artificial life forms lead, which is pretty solid, but we just don't have enough units to fill it out under that category. And then we also potentially could, I guess, technically have used the World Tournament Demon King Piccolo. I'm a little bit skeptical about what the situation or how to treat World Tournament units. I think the units that are guaranteed from the local rewards, so units like Demon King Piccolo, I think I will list as fine. So the World Tournament LRs I will list as fine, just because they are objectively free to play, at least if you were playing at the time when they came out. It's very difficult to measure exactly what constitutes free to play, because like getting a World Tournament Demon King Piccolo, if you didn't do those World Tournaments, is almost objectively harder than actually getting a summonable LR. So it kind of, to me, defeats the point in free to play, showcasing a unit that could objectively be harder for a new player to get than a unit that they could just summon off of a banner. And that's kind of where I'm gonna see how I go. If a stage is impossible without utilizing a World Tournament unit, then I will use a World Tournament unit, but I will always attempt the stages before utilizing World Tournament units, just because my own kind of thoughts on the matter are just simply that they are not, although they are free to play, they don't technically cost you stones to get. They are not what I would constitute farmable free to play units. They're not units that you can just pick up by going to the Portal of Memories or doing Easy A areas or anything like that. They are, in some cases, like I say, more difficult to get than actual LR units. Like you look at Int Piccolo. Okay, he's not a great unit at all, but he is objectively harder to get as a unit than a brand new Dokkan Fest LR. He is harder to get because you can only get him with World Tournament tickets. Those are limited to how well you do during a World Tournament, and a World Tournament's only up once every 2 months, and even then the rate is very, very low. So I just think we just need to rather try with units that are easily available, and then we can constitute something like, okay, we'll take a look at what the best World Tournament filler is if it's required, and I think that'll be a good bet. So far though, we're doing quite alright here. We are using items. I think to say, oh, don't use items but also do free to play. We'll do a no item run challenge, I guess, eventually along the way as well, and we'll compile that. So we'll do a free to play challenge and we'll do a no item run challenge, and we'll just kind of like alternate between the two, and then people can get a really good idea of what doing things no item is, or doing things, what kind of team this uses. And I think that'll be a nice, good comparison series to run. Maybe not exactly side by side, but with a bit of delay. Like, I'll do the first 10 SBR free to play, and then while I'm doing the second 10 free to play, I will start the first 10 with a no item run, and then we can just kind of like go off of that. We can like go from there. I think that'll be your best bet overall. And like there, you'll see exactly the comparisons between the two. No item runs aren't really something that I necessarily do, but I do understand the appeal from them. Once we finish all the SBR, we'll move on to ESBR, Although doing ESBR free to play is quite a little bit more challenging. Sorry, is quite a little bit more challenging than doing something necessarily not free to play. But I mean, yeah, it really is what it is. If you are a brand new player, or maybe you're someone who's never really thought of challenging SBR or ESBR or anything like that, you don't need to run a gimped free-to-play team, and you don't need to run an Omega level team. The important factors to always consider are things like super attack level, hidden potential systems, and obviously just leaders. So most of the monotype leads have received EZAs on, I think all of them actually now have received EZAs on both versions of the game, and running those 130% same type leads is going to dramatically improve how well you perform in this classic SBR. It's going to be something that's very, very, very good for you. It's going to be something that's going to help you out a lot. But you don't need to necessarily run a tech type lead to run a tech stage. Like you could run, for example, this Freezer. You could run, for example, Janemba. Janemba is also a really great option. You can run a whole bunch of units. Like I said, that World Tournament Piccolo is a terrifying Conqueror's lead, so you could definitely run him. You can run Hit, who's a Universal Survival Saga lead. Although I don't know how many extreme tech units you'd fit under there, although Hit could probably complete this SBR on his own. But like that's what I'm saying. You can run a lot of different things. You don't need to necessarily run this exact team. You don't necessarily run exactly the tech monotype. You obviously need to stick to those rules, but there are ways that you can manifest or do better or more interesting teams without having to rely exactly on the exact requirements. And that's how you can really work around these type of things. So just always be mindful of that. I mean, you can use the tech Resurrected Warriors Broly, you can use tech type Golden Freezer, you can use so many options now in Dokkan to use as leads. You don't need to necessarily use this one or that one. Just make sure that every unit you have fits under that lead, and you should be fine. Don't be scared to use support items, don't be scared to use support memories, don't be concerned about using this or using that. Like there's plenty for you to utilize and do, and yeah, just there's a lot that you can utilize in Dokkan. There's a lot of items that you can use. There's a lot of like units for you to try out and team combinations to utilize. Remember also that the original SBR, they do not remain consistent, so the fights I'm having here may not necessarily be exactly the fights that you are having. You might have slightly different fights and things like that, so don't necessarily think, oh hey, I'm gonna fight exactly the same units. The original SBR and same with the first 10 ESBR, these monotype ones, they will rotate through like some rosters of units. So you could fight like the Ginyu Force, or you could fight Turles and the boys in a certain slot, or you could fight Bardock and them obviously on the super side. So just bear that in mind, and remember that when you are coming into a stage that you need to be prepared for different variations of fights. They're not all going to be 2-unit fights. They might not all be 5-unit fights. It's just one of those things. The category SBR are all set. Those are genuinely obviously all set, and they do remain the same, so that's a little bit of a better approximation of what you are going to face. But yeah, just always be aware of these things and just make sure that you stay in control, and that you aren't really too pigeonholing yourself in preparation for, hey, I'm going to be fighting 2 units the whole time, and then you don't bring enough damage and you get taken out because you face 4 super attacks, or you don't have a tank, or yeah, there's a whole bunch of things you can and can't do. So just be wary and mindful when you make your team and try and choose the best one possible. But yeah, we are going to wrap things up here. We get the stun from Lord Slug, which is great, and then we'll finish things up with the first form cell. Overall, this team did pretty well, considering how low a lead it's under. It's under a 60% lead, which is very, very good with how well this team did. I would suggest replacing the lead. It's probably the first thing, Android 13, which is not exciting in any way, shape, or form. and then Android 17 would be the next one. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're enjoying the series, leave a like down and leave a comment down below. Otherwise, I will check you guys in the next video. But until then, as always guys, take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next one. So as always, bye.